What's going on, guys? This is Yasin. So today I wanted to go over some really interesting interactions concerning the Yummy deck, because I do feel like even though it's a very simple deck on paper, like when you look at the deck building, it actually ends up being a very intricate deck when you get to play the deck itself. There are so many weird hand traps that you have to like consider, at least when you're playing. Even though they're not necessarily going to be used against you, you still have to play around as many things as humanly possible. And I'll try to make it like explain, you know, the sequencing as well as possible so that people understand which plays play through the most amount of hand traps and when you should do them, and also when you should not do them, in order to, you know, maximize your chances of winning when you're going first. You don't really want to play around like a, you don't want to play into like a combination of hand traps and board breakers. But yeah, anyways, before we go any further, you already know the drill. Smash the like and subscribe button. It really motivates me a lot to keep breathing and existing on this universe. And let's get right into it. So let's just say you've got Obedient Schooled, and or maybe let's just say you're playing against Yummy, right? And then you've got Fua and Ash. Should you chain Fua to the Obedient Schooled, or should you chain Ash? I've seen like a video, I think Aaron McInnes posted it, where he had both, and he went for the greedy line and he Fua'd here. I actually think it is rather correct to Ash the Obedient Schooled, because if your opponent kind of sees that you're kind of, you know, thinking about it, then it's way too obvious that you have Ash as your second hand trap if you chain the Fua first. And then your opponent can just easily chain block and not play into the Ash whatsoever, and make a very, very good board that just also does not lose the Dark Ruler, because he can chain block the Cup C in order to not, you know, to guarantee the Yummy surprise and not lose the Dark Ruler. So I think if you have Ash and Fua, you will have to risk it and Ash the Obedient Schooled, even though it's not once per turn. You know, it's still like an unsearchable 3 of. If you're going first, it's not like you can thrust into it. There's no way to like bounce it back. So I do think you should Ash, because if you Fua there, and, you know, your opponent has Ash, it's not really good for you. The only way it can be good for you is if you have, like, Izuna, and then you can go Izuna, send Lupus, and then revive back, and then make, like a Nash Knight, or, like, a Infinite Track River Stormer, and then you can make Izus with 4 materials, and then activate its effect. Your opponent will never be able to, like, interact with it, because Lupus makes it so that it cannot be targeted. And also, since your opponent went for Obedient Schooled, there is no way to get an early Herald of Arclight, because you're going straight battle phase, run over something, attach something, and then make a format Zeus. You should definitely Ash that, and then your opponent will be summoning 3 monsters, and this is where it gets really interesting. A lot of people have absolutely no idea how to play around the most amount of hand traps. So when you summon Cup C, Lollipop, and Cookie, what I recommend is to go into the Link 1, and then activate its effect to place the minion, and then most people here, they synchro summon for Cup C and then get 2 searches, but I actually say screw that. You should go minion, revive back the Cup C, and then chain the Snatchy in order to synchro summon for Cup C Yummy Way. And what's going to happen here is that you're going to be going Chainlink 1 Cup C to search, Chainlink 2 Cup C Yummy Way to search 2, so you're going to be searching 3 cards at the same time, and if your opponent had Ash, or Dominus Purge, or Songs of the Dominators, well, he has to respond directly to the Cup C Yummy Way, not to the Cup C Yummy. So, you know, it's not like you're losing too much at the end of the day, because what really matters is Yummy Surprise. That is the card that allows you to diversify your end board, not only have an insanely powerful disruption in case your opponent does not have Dark Ruler, but in case he does have Dark Ruler, at least you have a way to have a non-negated monster on your end board. So it really does matter. This is one of your best friends. Honestly, the Cup C search is better than the Cup C Synchro search, unless, of course, your only play is Hornet or Engage. That's a no-brainer. But anyways, revive back your 2 monsters in case your opponent chains Ash, which obviously plays in your favor, and then you get your search, or if your opponent didn't Ash here, then you get triple searches, and then you discard, and then you no longer need any other searches or draws for the rest of the turn. So if your opponent hits you with Droll, it doesn't make you lose anything, so your opponent can really empty out a full hand at the speed of light. And if your opponent was just to Ash you first on your Obedient Schooled and it was your only starter, it would have hurt like crazy. And then even if you have like another Obedient Schooled, then worst case you just chain a second Fua and it's fine, because there is no other timing for you to drop an Ash. This deck is, you know, very, I don't know how to really like describe it, but it's very easy for this deck to just ignore hand traps and be insulated from like everything super easily. But anyways, Lollipop, revive back 2 monsters, and then make the Cup C Yummy Way, make another Yummy Snatchy, and then set your surprise. And then, honestly, there's pretty much nothing that can beat you here. You get the Dark Ruler, your opponent can have, like, his own Obedient Schooled, and this is always going to be a checkmate position in the Yummy Mirror match, because you can go, okay, revive back your 1 monster. And by the way, again, another thing that a lot of people don't know, the field spell for Yummy counts every Light Beast monster on the field, including your opponent's monsters. So, look at this. Your monster's going to have, like, 5,000 attack. This is, like, 25,000 damage on the board. and your opponent's monsters are weaklings. This is ridiculous, but it's not super relevant because your opponent can also have like his own field spell. But anyways, now we can replace with the Croaky field spell, and then we can go, okay, link 1, and then quick sync into the the Cookie anyway. This is going to be 2 summons. So you also have to be careful about Nibiru on your own turn. And yeah, at this point, we're going to be getting the double Book of Moon as well as a pop. Make sure to never pop the Cupsy, because this is the one card where if your opponent has the Yummy Surprise hard drawn, you can revive back the Cupsy and get a little bit more follow-up by searching a Yummy card and then basically just full combo off of one card. So you have to book the Cupsy and then preferably pop the Lollipop, because you're not really scared if your opponent shuffles back a card in your graveyard back into the deck. It doesn't really matter too much. So yeah, this is like the best thing that you can do. And then obviously we're not done that afterwards, because we can still go into a Herald of the Arclight and then check any other play that our opponent has. So yeah, this is freaking broken. This is absolutely insane. And honestly, it just goes to show that I think if Yummy is played correctly, and also if your opponent misplays into your plays, there's pretty much no way to lose if you're going first at the very least. Now, another, I guess, sequencing or interaction that I wanted to cover, just in case you draw like Cookie and Lollipop, how can you sequence these 2 cards in order to play around hand traps that usually would just beat a standard 1-card combo? Because let's just say you go normal summon either Cookie or Lollipop, whatever, and then you go into the Yummy Snatchy. If you activate the effect here to place the field spell, and people have a Ghost Ogre, they are 100% using Ghost Ogre on the Link 1. They're not using Ghost Ogre on the field spell, because your opponent could just special summon the Lollipop and then synchro summon and then just play the game from there. So, you know, you should not misplay. If you got a second name, you should not use the effect of the Link 1, even though it feels like it's really counterintuitive, and then you should special summon the Lollipop and then synchro summon into Cupsy Yummy Way, and then you're insulated from hand traps as soon as this card hits the field. You don't really care. And then you're searching 2 cards. This is 3 summons. We don't have the field spell yet, but that's not an issue. So special summon the Cupsy. This is summon number 4. And you're going to be searching for the Yummy Surprise. We also search the monster that we normal summon. So in this case, the Cookie. We discarded a card. And then link off for the Snatchy. This is summon number 5. And then we're going to be placing the field spell. Revive back. We get hit by Ghost Ogre. That's fine. We can chain to tag out. Summon back 2 monsters. And then revive back our 2 monsters. Make the Lollipop, revive back 2. And then our opponent has to nib us here. Otherwise, we can make Herald of Arclight and then extend with the Cookie and the Yummy Surprise and call it a turn. And we're not done yet, because obviously we can turn this into a Link Spider, recycle back the field spell, special summon the Cookie, reduce the attack by 1000. This is also very relevant, because if you end on the Cupsy Yummy Way in defense, it has 2200 defense, so the Nibiru won't be able to run over. So you don't even have to make an SP to banish it. You're not even afraid of this yet. And then we can keep playing. So obviously, like I said, this has 22, and you still have Yummy Surprise. So even if your opponent like combines Nibiru and Ghost Ogre against a very weak 2-card hand, it is not going to be enough, pretty much regardless of how your opponent times it. But yeah, that's it for this video right here. Really quick, I just wanted to showcase these small little interactions, but they can definitely come up. There are obviously a lot more intricacies. This deck is not solved whatsoever. I mean, I guess it is for the most part, just because everybody kind of agrees on the fact that this is the kind of deck that you should probably play hand traps instead, because the board breaker approach has been tried by a lot of really good players, including Triff, and apparently just has not been working really well. And also, like, from my own experience, like, seeing people play the board breaker Yummy, it's really just not, like, the way to go at the moment, but that doesn't mean that, you know, that's set in stones and it's always going to be bad. At any moment in the future, it could, like, out of nowhere become, like, a much better build. But yeah, that's it for this video right here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys very, very soon with another video. Peace.